And now the squad is threatening the president.
And to my president, to our president, I'm not going to forget this. And I think a lot of people are not going to forget this. And it's not a threat. It isn't. They think we're joking. I mean, I think the White House and everyone thinks that we're just going to sit back and let this just continue to happen.
It's not a threat if you say it's not a threat afterwards. That's how it works. Just ask Fat Tony. And the squad had whipped the crowd into a frenzy. Next thing you know, they marched right into the Capitol. The protesters would have kicked their feet up on the speaker's desk, but we don't have a speaker. And earlier in the day, Hamas sympathizers obstructed an official government proceeding.
How many bombs need to be dropped on Gaza before we call for a ceasefire? How many children need to be killed? Our families are dying. Our families are dying. We need a ceasefire now. We need a ceasefire now. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now.
We need a ceasefire now. Stop sending aid to Israel. Stop the Israeli genocide of Palestinians.
The Hamas caucus mob was apparently too much for John Fetterman. The Pennsylvania senator, now forced to dress like an adult, started thinking like an adult. Kind of funny how that works. And he criticized the squad, called them disgraceful. But House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries is of the mindset, hear no evil, see no evil.
There's two of your colleagues, Congresswoman Tlaib and Omar, who have tweets up saying that Hamas is to blame for the hospital attack in Gaza. Should they delete those tweets?
I haven't seen the tweets.
Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol. What? No!
We need to go into the Capitol. Is that Ilhan Omar? Oh, man. All right. Okay. Things are going crazy. What a week. Man, what a week. I did not have Democrat-led Hamas insurrection in my bingo card, but bingo, here we are. Today is Tuesday, October 19th, 2023. Pro-Hamas protesters, peaceful protesters, stage a violent insurrection inside of the U.S. Capitol. It was live streamed. Will there be arrests? Oh, baby. We'll find out. Speaker vote heats up. Will we have another vote during the show? We're ready, but we'll see, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of stuff up in the air right now with Jim Jordan, but we are staying on this track, man. We shall break the DC Rhino fever. Julie Kelly, the greatest January 6th reporter in the world, joins the show to talk about what potential charges the Hamas insurrectionists shall face. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. As you know, we've been live streaming all of the speaker votes, okay? So we've had 3 so far. Jim Jordan has lost. Unfortunately, there are 20 fussy, finicky, selfish, pretentious, very, very pearl clutchy. Ooh, Jim Jordan. How dare I support someone for speaker that everyone likes, that my entire base likes? How dare I? How could I? How could I possibly serve my voters? How could I possibly represent my voters in the House of Representatives? Anyway, if you couldn't tell, we've been live streaming day and night and day. And when the Jim Jordan vote happens today, if it happens today, a lot up in the air, we will go live. We want you to be able to see the vote. We want you to be able to see how these people are voting. And we've been covering in great detail, and we will continue to cover in great detail, exactly why this is happening. Why 20 Republicans are being leveraged against the interests of their own party and their own voters to vote against Jim Jordan, a speaker that has 90+% of the caucus behind him, and pretty much every voter in America that's a Republican behind him and supporting him. So, ladies and gentlemen, make sure that you have a plan when you do something like this. I mean, again, we're not going to withhold judgment of Matt Gaetz and company. You better have a plan if you're going to go, because we should be impeaching Joe Biden right now, right? We should be impeaching Joe Biden right now. And if this scuttles the process of holding Joe Biden in contempt, and if this scuttles a Congress that had very high approval ratings, there were some really high approval ratings for Congress, then it leads me to ask other questions, like why in the hell did you do this? Why the F would you do something like this? Like at some point, if you launch a torpedo, you better not hit your own submarine. And so we're going to be keeping a close eye on here on this. We call balls and strikes, right? And we bring the energy, and we do so because, well, you got to understand in weeks like this, we have a tough time sleeping. Not only do I have a newborn at home, we're just working all day long, and it's an intense job. And so sometimes it's really hard to calm down. That's why I use Beam Dream powder to go to bed at night, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of stuff can happen between here and the time when I go beddy bye, and I'm always sitting there with X open on my phone being like, oh no, what's going on now? You need good sleep. You need it for your own health. You know that poor sleep can cause weight gain, mood issues, and poor mental health and productivity. That you can add pounds to your body with bad sleep. Sleeping less than 6 or 7 hours a night will reduce white blood cell count and will actually make you sicker. Ladies and gentlemen, please use Beam Dream powder. It's the dream powder that I use to chill me out before going to bed. And today, my listeners can get a special discount on Beam's Dream powder. Their best-selling hot cocoa. Come on, it's getting chilly outside. No sugar added. Now available in delicious flavors like sea salt caramel, cinnamon, cocoa, and chocolate peanut butter. Never tasted better. A recent clinical study showed that Dream helped 93% of users wake up feeling more refreshed. 93% of users wake up with a restful night's sleep. Get Beam's best-selling Dream powder right now, 40% off, limited time. Shop beam.com/Benny. Use code Benny at checkout. That's beam, BEAM.com/Benny. Use code Benny for 40% off. Some people who should be sleeping in solitary confinement right now, pre-trial, for 2 years before they get sentenced to 22 years in prison, should be the Hamas protesters. These people aren't protesters. These are radical insurrectionists by definition, right? So they stormed inside of the Capitol yesterday. Of this brooding goblin-esque mob goes lurching into the Capitol building and storm not the Capitol building proper, but inside of the rotunda of one of the House office buildings. House office building, Cannon House office building, where some of our favorite members, Marjorie Taylor Greene and so on, have their offices. Why are we bringing you this story? Well, we talked about it yesterday, but we also wanted to officially bring it up on the show because, well, what the hell, man? You don't hear anything about it. This is how the game works. And it is our responsibility as creators of a new media ecosystem to put pressure on the left the way that they put pressure on us. Now, you heard day and night about January 6th. You still hear about insurrection. With Jim Jordan, they're voting for Jim Jordan. Maxine Waters insurrection. Maxine Waters screaming. I think we have the clip. She's screaming about insurrection right on the House floor. That's what they call Jim Jordan. So the Democrats will never give up a narrative. Okay? They'll never give up a narrative. They will ride that pony till it is in the dirt when they get themselves a narrative. Yet Republicans were such cowards. One, we never coalesce on any particular talking point issue, right? We never coalesce on issue. Democrats are always on message. And we never, ever, drive home things that should embarrass or repulse the voters, things that Democrats do. And so, therefore, we just become the whipping boy for whatever narratives Democrats want to leverage against us. And we never go on the offense. Never. Here's a good example. A guy named Steve Scalise is apparently sabotaging Jim Jordan's run for speaker. We'll see. Steve Scalise is voting for Jim Jordan. Steve Scalise probably thinks he was the second guy in line, even though he's been suffering some major medical issues. But Steve Scalise suffered a major medical issue when a Democrat went and shot up a baseball field full of Republicans, a guy who's a Bernie Sanders voter and supporter, a Hillary Clinton supporter after the 2016 election. Now, this would have been an excellent opportunity for Republicans to have muscularly leveraged against Democrat radicalism. What if Republicans at that moment didn't sit there and sing Kumbaya with Democrats on the House floor, which is what actually happened. Paul Ryan went down, linked arms with Nancy Pelosi, and cried and sobbed and got a back massage and got a foot rub. Actually, he was the one rubbing Nancy Pelosi's face. What if Republicans had seized on that horrific moment and said, Democrats are radicalizing their voters. This is a trend in left-wing violence, and we cannot sit aside any longer and let it go. We've got to actually seize this moment and cause pain to Democrats who have allowed this to happen. Steve Scalise in the hospital nearly died. Terrible, horrible story. But like most people don't know about that story, that Steve Scalise was shot up by a Bernie Sanders supporter that was fully and wholly radicalized by MSNBC. I know this guy because I went through his Facebook page before it was scrubbed. Back when I was working for, I think it was Tucker Carlson at the time. Like I went through this guy's entire Facebook history before it was scrubbed, right? And this guy was like a far left-wing, big-time MSNBC guy, radical. You know what would happen today if that was some guy who watched Fox News or this program or whatever? Do you think they use it against us? Yeah. Republicans never take an opportunity to actually extract pain from their enemies, to actually leverage a news cycle in our favor. We never do it. We never do it. So there's like an insurrection at the Capitol yesterday. We do nothing about it. Only Marjorie Taylor Greene is out there like live streaming it. There are Republican members of Congress that are having their offices defaced. The building's getting defaced. This mob of orcs get like pushed into the Capitol building, get allowed in. They must have been let in by security. And they sit there and they disrupt an official proceeding. They parade illegally through the Capitol. They have loud, disruptive voices. These are all felonies that the January 6ers have been charged with. And then they refuse to follow police orders. Felony, 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 felony. Just stack them all up. Every one of these people should be in total DC gulag, pre-trial solitary confinement for the next 2 years, then sentenced to 22 years on top of it. But what will happen? Nothing. Because there is no agitation mechanism with Republicans. Republicans never stand in the field and fight and say, this is sick, this is wrong, we're going to make you pay a political price for this horrible behavior. They shot up Steve Scalise, and there's not a single Republican that condemned Democrats for that, even though they're the ones who radicalized this guy. I went through the guy's Facebook. I know exactly this guy was sharing all these anti-Trump memes, sharing all his pro-Nancy Pelosi stuff. They literally nearly killed Steve Scalise. And did Republicans use that opportunity to extract a single concession from Democrats for what they had done to radicalize their base? And no. And then what happens next is you see this happen again and again and again. I physically watched Rand Paul and his wife after Donald Trump's acceptance speech at the RNC convention at the White House, 2020. I physically watched Rand Paul get assaulted by a mob in Washington, D.C. Like a mob of left-wing orcs that can be activated with the flip of a switch, just go and attack a sitting senator. But all you hear about is the attack on January 6th. They burned down the White House. They burned down the White House. But you don't hear anything about it. Donald Trump was taken down to the safe room because the orcs went and burned down the churches at the White House, the buildings at the White House. But nobody hears anything because we have no balls. Like as a Republican, as like a zeitgeist, we have no capacity to actually get on message and talk through. This is why gotta tell you, this is why we've been doing Joe Biden crime stories for the last 2.5 years. Literally, we get made fun of because we do cover the TikTok of Joe Biden's criminal enterprise, but we will never stop. Because Republicans don't, Democrats, when the dog gets a bone, they do not let go. Republicans don't do the same thing. And so here you go. Here's what it looked like inside the Capitol Rotunda when there was a actual, literal, terrorist-linked protest, because Hamas is a terrorist group, inside of the U.S. Capitol yesterday. Okay, here's what it looked like outside. So you can see people outside the Capitol, a mob of individuals outside and inside of the Capitol. Again, here's what it looked like now from outside in the protest footage. What is the physiognomy of a leftist protester? Like, you can tell so much more. Like the way that you look and the way that you carry yourself and like the way you compose yourself tells me so much more than if you drive a fancy car, right? Like your body habitus, like your physiognomy, like how you care for yourself, like tells me so much about your mental health and your spiritual health. Why is it always that these leftist protesters are dumpy, frumpy, sad, neon toxicity level hair color? Why is it that they always have like the exact same physiognomy? They're always like these like deeply unhealthy, deeply unfit, deeply translucent slobs. Why? What is it? Like it really, it's mental. It's mental. It's a spiritual and it's mental. Okay. So Marjorie Taylor Greene showing text messages of these protesters. Pretty shocking stuff. So Marjorie Taylor Greene is the hero of the Republic yesterday. She's obviously a big-time friend of the show. And she is taking photos of some of the protesters' phones inside of the building in the Capitol. Global Intifada is the name of the text chain group. Global Intifada? Oh my. What does that mean? Well, Intifada is, there's a first and second Intifada that the Palestinian people, it's like a jihad that the Palestinian people waged against the Israeli state in order to wipe out the Jews. So what you would do here from a federal, and we're going to have Julie Kelly on the program here shortly, and we're going to ask her about all this. She's the best January 6th reporter on earth. The only person that's been going to every single January 6th sentencing trial. She's going to talk us through what these people should be charged with. But at the very least, what you have here is the coordination vector on a terrorist chat chain named Global Terrorism, Global Intifada. Wipe out the Jews, but like, I guess globally? I mean, that's what it's saying, right? Go look up the definition of Intifada. And then look up also the dark histories of them. And Marjorie Taylor Greene is screenshotting these people's phones. So what you have here is then coordination, collusion, seditious conspiracy to attack the Capitol. And that is precisely what happened, ladies and gentlemen. They desecrated the Capitol. They drew on the Capitol. I don't know if we have that. We need to grab that footage, ALX, of the Mary Margaret Olohan. They desecrated the Capitol, right? They vandalized it. They drew on it. And they ripped down some of the signs of various members of Congress who had up signs defending Israel. Okay? Got to grab that Randy Weber, member of Congress. So they got arrested for their trouble. Capitol Police apparently arrested over 300 people yesterday. Here's some footage of the arrest. It's always fun to watch. What is that? Why are they always out of central casting, these guys? Why are they always out of central casting? Play that one next to me. Why are they always out of central casting, these guys? The guy's getting arrested. Like, it's have you ever seen like a more of a physical, like a physical representation of low testosterone? No, I want the guy who's like writhing on the ground. No, load that. I want the guy who's like shaking and writhing and crying on the ground. Load that one. The one that we just played, Royce. Why? What? Like, they're always out of central casting, these guys. It's, well, all right. Slow on the draw here. There we are. Okay. Here you go. Look. Why? Look at that guy. Oh my God. These are the people that want to run your government and control every element of your life. This person. And this person would, in a heartbeat, put you in a camp, in a re-education camp. This would be the Gestapo guard in charge of Hillary Clinton's re-education camp for all Trump supporters. This would be mark my words, the rose-colored cheeks of fascism right here, ladies and gentlemen. So there's vandalism all around the Capitol. Here's the vandalism. They were writing on the walls, "Free Palestine." So these are the storied marble walls of the Capitol building. Here they're writing. They're desecrating the Capitol. There they are. And then go to image number 3 here. They have. These guys look like they're trying to say that this is a Jewish protest. Okay, they're too cute by half. These guys look like Jewish protesters to you. I'll let you answer. These guys look like they go to synagogue every Saturday. These guys observe Shabbat. Yeah, I don't think so. So they're trying to mask this. They're trying to mask this and paint over it as some type of Jewish protest. These guys, again, they're really fun arrest videos. We have a couple more of them. We can pop them up and show you. The protesters got arrested, but will they see solitary confinement? Will they be treated like Gulag? Like Gulag January, here's the Greta Thunberg style arrest, right? Where they have to actually pick up the person, pick her up, carry him or her out. The low testosterone soy level shaking. But look at how they're not concerned at all. These people aren't concerned at all. They have not a care in the world. Doing exactly what January 6ers did. The worst January 6ers. Most January 6ers are just wandering in, just wandering around with their little American flag, didn't know any better because the doors were wide open to them. That's why the vast majority of January 6ers are charged with trespassing at the U.S. Capitol. These people are actually resisting arrest, fighting cops, having soy seizures. Look at that. It's such a great clip. Oh, man. If low testosterone was a person, if there was a physical embodiment of what it looks like when you've never eaten a piece of red meat in your life, what your body looks like. Jack Skellington here. Yeah. These are the people, these are the Gestapo guards in charge of the re-education camps for all of us. Mark my words, the rosy-faced cheek of fascism. So, yeah, it wasn't great. They also went ahead and defaced a member of Congress's office. We don't need to play the actual video because it's boring. Can we load it up next to me here, Royce? There was a member of Congress who, his name is Randy Weber from Texas. He had a "I support Israel" sign outside of his office, and this sign was ripped to shreds and ripped down. And Randy Weber, got to get a mic, man. Can't hear what you're saying. I've seen this clip. Can't hear what you're saying in the clip because you're in the echoey halls of Congress. But anyway, happy to do a media training for your team. So Rashida Tlaib, not going to do a media training for her. She was out agitating for the actual insurrection. Pretty amazing because Jack Smith is charging Donald Trump with agitating an insurrection. Apparently, Donald Trump's own words and retweets are what's led to an insurrection at the United States Capitol. And so that's what Donald Trump's being charged with in Washington, D.C. A bajillion charges for 10 million years in prison, right? Yeah, here's the exact same setup. I'm telling you, knock them down. Set them up, knock them down. Exact same setup. Rashida Tlaib, somebody who has clear and obvious anti-Semitic stance. I mean, she's it was Tlaib who said the Holocaust gives her a calming feeling. When she thinks about the Holocaust, she has a calming feeling, along with a ton of other anti-Semitic and sick terrorist Hamas sympathizer viewpoints. Here she is straight up calling for the insurrection at the Capitol that ended up happening, sending all the orcs up to the Capitol. Hey, baby, Jack Smith, get them ready. Here comes your next series of indictments in D.C., right? Here you go.
Continue to watch people think it's okay to bomb a hospital where children.
Okay, cool. Bomb a hospital with children. That sounds pretty awful. Except for tough luck. It's actually the terrorists that you represent, Hamas, who bombed their own people. We literally have the footage of it. Pop it up. Here is the ambassador to the United Nations from Israel posting the footage. Quote, tweeting Rashida Tlaib. Here is the footage of a Hamas barrage of rockets. You can see here. We've studied this extensively and done our research, okay? Done our research on this issue. We didn't blame anyone. We didn't rush to any conclusions. But you can see one of the rockets break up in air, and then there it goes. It falls to Earth. The rocket breaks up in air, and it falls to Earth. Literally not totally nonpartisan, like AI satellite tracking imagery proves that there was a massive rocket barrage. One of the rockets exploded midair, and it lands in a parking lot. Didn't blow up a hospital, didn't kill 500 people. Everyone just ran with the terrorist narrative on this, including Rashida Tlaib, who you can see here tweeted, Israel just bombed a hospital. What does that tell you? What does that tell you about somebody when they're willing to just repeat what a terrorist organization says? That tells you that the enemy is within. That's what it tells you, ladies and gentlemen. So keep your head on a swivel, man. There's crazy stuff going on right now. Will these leftists be charged? We can't wait for Julie Kelly to pop on the show and tell us. She'll be here in a minute. But I look forward to asking her, like, exactly how much time do these people deserve in federal lockup? And more importantly, when we take back the White House in 2024, like, let's make sure that we preserve all of the records. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who was live streaming the whole thing, asked for, like, demanded that Capitol Police preserve all records and all arrest records and all footage so that hopefully when we control the Department of Justice, these people will be rounded up by the FBI and will be served the same soup that the mostly peaceful protesters on January 6th were served. I didn't make the rules. You should be allowed to peacefully protest. I don't want what happened to January 6ers to happen, and I don't want that same thing to be applied to these people. Like, to be quite honest with you, I've seen so many of these leftist protests. Leftist activism and violence go hand in hand. I lived in Washington, D.C. I worked there for 15 years on Capitol Hill as a reporter. I've seen it between Brett Kavanaugh and between various feminist marches and abortion marches. These people are always violent. They're always going over and taking over buildings, threatening members of Congress. Do I think that they should spend time in the gulag? No. But you made the rules. And so you got to live by them rules. You take your medicine. You gave it to us, and now you got to drink it. This will be the new thing. Now, I will stay on the story. I want these people to be charged. We've already put in a number of requests. We've asked the DOJ, hey, where are the charges for these people? Like, are you planning on charging these people? This exact same thing that happened on January 6th? And more importantly, how are they let into the building? That's interesting. All good questions, and we shall find out. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to be able to mess around here. Please stay connected with us by using Patriot Mobile. Please remember that we are living in dire times. We are living in times where news can change very quickly, and it is important that you have dependable and patriotic cell phone service. Patriot Mobile is what we use, and we use it all around the country. We have some very special stuff. Do we have the photo with Jacob? Oh, okay. All right. Well, let's go ahead and grab that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special video that we've been producing that we will be releasing this weekend, where we went into the desert and tried to learn shamanism from a very special little shaman that has been in the news as of late. And so we'll be teasing that on this program. Let's go ahead and grab some of the teasers for that. But what I'm saying here is we went into the middle of the Arizona desert, out in the middle of nowhere, and our phones still work because of Patriot Mobile. Go to patriotmobile.com today, /Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT. Get free activation today when you use the offer code Benny. patriotmobile.com/Benny. We take our phones everywhere on the planet Earth, and they still work, even in some of the most remote areas. And so you need to switch to Patriot Mobile today. Somebody who probably should be away from all electronics forever, because every time he is on video, he makes an absolute catastrophic laughingstock of our nation and his own family, because quite obvious what's happening here is sundown syndrome and deep and abiding elder abuse is Joe Biden. Joe Biden's had a tough 24 hours. Joe Biden went to Israel. That means a time zone change, and that time zone change is going to effectively create a sundown syndrome situation where Joe Biden is too tired to like function. And that's maybe why Joe Biden called the attack on Israel 15 9/11s. Okay. No. First off, no. There's no comparison. All right? There's no comparison. And it's honestly, it's insulting, not just to the Israelis, but to the like Americans to call this 15 9/11s. But has Joe Biden cared about insulting Americans? Nope. Americans who disagree with Joe Biden, he calls them fat and challenges them to push-up competitions. Here we go. Joe Biden.
The world will know that Israel is stronger than ever. And my message to any state or any other hostile actor thinking about attacking Israel remains the same as it was a week ago. Don't. Since this terrorist attack took place, we've seen it described as Israel's 9/11. Well, for a nation the size of Israel, it was like 15 9/11s.
It's like 15 9/11. Really? Could you? I mean, what a deeply disrespectful thing to say. What a deeply disrespectful thing to just compare it. And you compared 9/11 to January 6th. So Joe Biden's saying that while his own party is staging an insurrection on behalf of the terrorists. Oh, and Joe Biden went on to tell the terrorists who are shooting missiles and bombs and guns at Israel that they need to start shooting straight. It's beyond parody at this point. Watch.
And I'm not suggesting that Hamas deliberately did it either. It's that old thing, got to know how to shoot straight. And it's not the first time Hamas has launched something that didn't function.
It's worse than Saturday Night Live. I mean, it's like Saturday Night Live. It's similar to Saturday Night Live. Like, you couldn't write the scripts about this. Is why they're so bad at parodying Joe Biden on SNL, because the real Joe Biden is more buffoonish and comical than the Joe Biden they could ever write and come up with. He's straight out of central casting. Do you see Anthony Blinken behind him? Hello, Darkness, my old friend. Simon and Garfunkel playing. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Do you see Blinken? Watch Blinken, like the sunken eyes and the dead eyes and like the sadness wash over him as Joe Biden actually truly breaks down and malfunctions completely on camera. This is a danger. Like, he's gone. He's gone. Okay? He's gone. It's over. It's over for Joe. Okay? Watch this.
Virtually every mass shooting, every circumstance where a large number of people have been victimized and lost, I've spoken to. I learned a long time ago what you've all learned in your life. When someone's going through something that is beyond their comprehension, they've ever thought they'd have to go through. If they see someone who they think understands or maybe been through something not the same but similar.
What the hell's going on with Joe Biden's chin? Like, what's happening? Okay, so I got a chin. I don't think it's a particularly good chin. I think I had a chin, right? It's a chin. It's got a little. It's whatever. What if one morning, like, I came on here and we were chatting all together, and my chin looked like that? What's going on with Joe Biden's chin? Joe Biden suddenly had like a testicular augmentation to his chin. What's going on? Let's do photo number one. Okay, so here's Joe Biden's official presidential portrait. Photo number one, grinning like an idiot. His hair is plastic, his face is plastic, his teeth are plastic. We've shown you the plastic surgeon that breaks down all the work he's had. He apparently had $100,000+ worth of work done. But his face, he just generally just kind of like looks totally airbrushed, not real. This is Joe Biden number 2, by the way. This is my favorite Joe Biden, all right? But we got Joe Biden number 7 yesterday. This is what they give you in dire times. What kind of thing happens where your chin starts to grow little squirrel nut sack? What happens there? What's going on with the little chipmunk nuts on Joe Biden's face? Who teabagged Joe Biden? What's going on there? I don't understand. There's more people with more takes. Let's travel through them. Okay, let's go through it. So hold on. One of these chins is not like the other. Okay, all right. There's Joe Biden. There. What the hell? What's going on? What? What is that? What is that? What's going on? Oh, man, that's the Nancy Pelosi. Oh, no. Oh, Nancy. Oh, yeah, that's good. Okay, that's right. There's one from Bricksuit. There's one from Bricksuit. Grab the Bricksuit one, ALX. Go to Bricksuit's account. No, you guys got to see one more. Wait. The great producer ALX it can get one more. Show me that close-up, Royce. Let's get that close-up. This is crazy. Okay, so this is an undoctored. I would never doctor one of these things. I mean, it's too easy, right? So parody, like life and parody, reality and parody, you can't tell the difference anymore. So we would never doctor the image for you, right? Like, we don't need to, okay? We don't need to make the joke. We don't need to, like, mess with the image. This is the image. Can we zoom? Zoom in. What is happening? What is that? Can somebody explain this to me? Is Joe Biden growing twins? What's happened? Is he an alien? Is he a lizard? What's going on? What's going on? Some people are saying in the comments it's chinchilla. A scrotum breast? I don't know. 8 balls? Boob chin? We try and do a family show here. We do. We do our best to do a family show here. We always support our military. And maybe that's what Joe Biden's doing. Check this out. Maybe Joe Biden is simply supporting our men and women in uniform by, let's click on that. Let's zoom on in. Chin pods who wore it better. Maybe Joe Biden is simply supporting, make that bigger, supporting our men and women in uniform. There you go. Baby, that's it. Baby, that's it. He's saying he's becoming this, the man is becoming, he's more of a machine than man now. Star Wars quote. And maybe Joe Biden's just becoming the aircraft, the C-17, right? Maybe that's it. He just loves our military so much. He looks at his watch when when we're in the middle of a dignified transfer, but Joe Biden is just becoming the furniture. It's becoming the machine. Who knows? Who knows? I leave it to you. Plastic is melting. He needs to wear a bra. There are many people who are coming in. Marbles have landed. I'm reading the comments right now. I see it. I see you. I don't know. It's a mask. It could be a mask. Could be. We're waiting, ladies and gentlemen. We're waiting. But we don't know what the hell's going on with Joe Biden's chin. We don't know. But we do know something that's going on with Jim Jordan's speakership. We just got some breaking news. So we got breaking news during the show about Jim Jordan's speakership, and this is a big one. We're going to read this live on air with you right now. This from the Daily Caller. This is breaking news and pretty profound, pretty big news. Jim Jordan will back Patrick McHenry for temporary Speaker of the House. Will remain Speaker designee. Uh-oh. Okay. So would you look at that? So it looks like Republicans are going to vote for the Speaker pro tempore, meaning the Speaker just who's warming the chair, who doesn't have the power of Speaker. They're going to vote to give Patrick McHenry temporary Speaker power until January, after failing to receive the necessary 217 votes. Source familiar to the Daily Caller says Jordan will continue to run and try and shore up the votes until then, remain Speaker designee, not dropping out McHenry temporary until January. Jordan will announce that he will not hold a third Speaker vote as planned He will get behind the plan to temporarily empower McHenry on January 3rd. Jordan will remain as Speaker designee. Jordan failed to receive enough votes. And then had 20 people vote against him first time, 22 people vote against him the second time, and Republicans are total fussy cowards. And every one of these Republicans need to be primaried. Every single one of them. I will personally donate. I will max out to every one of the people who will primary these people. And there was one member of Congress from my home district, meaning where I was raised, Marionette Miller Meeks, who's from Iowa. And she was one of those fussy, selfish, repulsive, insufferable people who voted against Jim Jordan yesterday. And then she comes out with some mewling statement that people have been mean to her online. Suck it up, buttercup. Like, who are our political class? How thin-skinned are these people? How embarrassed are you to be represented by these individuals? Oh, they're triggered. They're triggered voting for Jim Jordan. They're so sad about it. They would never vote for the person that, of course, we all want them to vote for. They're better than that. Hi, Republican, I'm your voter. I want you to vote for Jordan. He's a cool dude. Yeah, sure, maybe the process has been a little messy. I don't like the process either. But hey, vote for Jordan. We like Jordan. Shut up. Stop threatening me, says Republicans back to their voters. Every one of these people. They're such frauds. Such frauds. And you know who they're handing power in the House to? This is who they've now who they have now handed the gavel to, okay? This. Here's a video of Pelosi yesterday.
When we've had a speaker's race on our side or their side, we've always respected each other's judgment. But today and yesterday, that was an assault on our democracy, as Jim Jordan assaulted our democracy on January 6th.
Oh, okay. Is she saying that leftist Hamas activists are raging through the Capitol, attacking members of Congress, attacking cops, behaving as terrorists? Oh, and there was a guy who called Jim Jordan a terrorist. Remember that? Speaker Boehner. John Boehner John Boehner's not a member of, hasn't been a member of Congress in 10 years. John Boehner got a vote yesterday. These are the kind of absolute asshats who represent us in Congress. Watch.
Kelly of Pennsylvania.
Former Speaker of the House, the Honorable John Boehner.
Boehner.
And people clapped. We clapped. Lobotomized seals. McCarthy still backs Jordan. I think that McCarthy has behaved. I mean, I had to tell you, my opinion of McCarthy has been raised here. I'm not close to McCarthy. McCarthy has not been on the show. Jim Jordan's been on the show. McCarthy, I'm not close to McCarthy, okay? There's some members of Congress that I am very close with and we communicate with day and night. McCarthy's not one of them. But I have to tell you, my opinion of McCarthy has been raised significantly here at the way that he's handled all this. This is a deeply imperfect practice, what's just happened in Congress. Deeply imperfect. Like, if your result here, blowing up McCarthy's speakership, if your result is that we get Patrick McHenry for a couple of months, as Jim Jordan, like, desperately tries to empower, to, like, bring over these the people who are voting for John Boehner. Oh my God. What have you done? It's bad. It's bad. It's tactically brain dead. You have to have a strategy. If you don't have a strategy and you just blow something up, you are also a terrorist. You have to have a strategy. Kevin McCarthy saying back Jim Jordan all the way.
Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy thinks Jordan should stay in the race.
I had from November all the way to January to work on winning Speaker. Jim Jordan's had less than 48 hours here. Look, I think from the perspective, we let Jim as the nominee, let him work through this.
Okay, so now it looks like they're going to probably vote to give Patrick McHenry, the consensus candidate, power. That is not a great result. That's not a great result. I mean, people just want to go back to business. That's fine. But that's not a great result. Patrick McHenry did immediately kick out Nancy Pelosi from her little cubbyhole office, so I guess there's that. He seems like a feisty little man. Feisty, angry little man. Speaking of feisty and angry, here's one of this guy's named Mike Lauer. What state's he from, ALX? A member of Congress was on Fox and got absolutely BTFO'd on Fox this morning. They're trying to make this all about Gates. And I get it. I get it. But that time has passed. Jim Jordan is an excellent speaker's candidate. These people are humiliating themselves and humiliating the rest of us by not backing Jim Jordan and showing exactly how corrupt and corrupted they are in the process. Man, I've been railing against this. These appropriators, these little money grubbers there in Congress, so upset that Jim Jordan would reduce their power by limiting their budgets. Yeah, that's what you're here for. You're a Republican. Run as a Democrat next time. Or don't run. Better yet, don't run, because you're going to get primaried and we're going to defeat you. If you voted against Jordan, here's your black spot. Here's your scarlet letter. I don't like the process as much as you do. I would rather get on with the business of impeaching Joe Biden. I would rather get on with the business of governing. But you don't get a right to clutch your pearls and do the exact same thing and side with Democrats and deny Jim Jordan the speakership. He is a fine candidate for speaker. Listen to the arguments here, though, by these people. No one has ever presented. If you could present an argument against Jim Jordan, I'd gladly listen. Here's the best you got. Watch.
Do it. If we can't get those folks in a room with folks like me in swing districts and the folks that are now opposed to Jordan, we're never going to be able to build
consensus. But you're one of the people that are opposed. But we're respectfully, Congressman. The Gates thing is past us now. We have a new nominee that's on the floor. And the question is, why aren't you voting for him?
Respectfully, it's not past us, and that's the challenge here. And what I've said to Jim
McCarthy
Jordan
is no longer a nominee.
What I've said to Jim Jordan from the very start is you have to get the right people in the room so that we can hash this out.
I'm asking about you, though, Congressman, not the right people. You're voting against them.
With all due respect, you can yell at me about it, but with all due respect, if we don't get everybody in the room to hash out the path forward, it doesn't matter who the speaker is, all right? We can elect a new speaker, but we still need 218 votes on the floor to pass our appropriations bills, to deal with aid to Israel, to deal with the crisis in Ukraine, to deal with our border. If we can't compromise within the conference, forget about the Democrats, within the conference, we're not going to be able to govern.
You can't compromise because of you. Because you. And you can't enumerate or illuminate for us a single reason why you're voting against Jim Jordan, other than you are fully and totally compromised. Why are you voting against the consensus candidate that 90% of the Republican caucus and virtually 100% of Republican grassroots activists and voters think is awesome? Jim Jordan's a total badass. He's a complete winner. We'll see what happens here. But Jim Jordan supporting Patrick McHenry as speaker, as the pro tem speaker, to have speakership power, I think that vote's going to work. I think people are going to vote for that because Patrick McHenry is a little deputy to McCarthy, and I think that's going to work. I do. I love Jim Jordan. I believe that this is probably the best argument in favor of Jim Jordan. Andy Ogles, who's an awesome member of Congress from Nashville, who flipped a Democrat seat red. So a lot of these people are just total pussies, right? They're like, I'm in a Joe Biden district, right? They're in a district that voted for Joe Biden. Andy Ogles is one of those guys, and he's not flipping. Andy Ogles is actually going hard in the paint for Jim Jordan, in spite of the fact that he's in a Joe Biden district. Watch.
2024, and have someone like Jim who will show up to a nice dinner without a jacket on, his tie's crooked, his sleeves are rolled up. He's grassroots. He's grassroots all the way, right? This is what's at stake. Right. This is who we need to mobilize, and someone like Jim Jordan has the opportunity to be the voice of Joe the plumber, right? Of the soccer moms out there that are worried about the kids.
Come on, man. That's populism. Okay? That's populism. Ladies and gentlemen, in a moment, Julie Kelly, the best reporter on January 6th on planet Earth, joins the program to talk with us about the Hamas insurrection. But before that, please consider, with the world pulling itself apart at the seams, investing and diversifying in something other than the fiat currency of our American government, please consider going to my friends at Allegiance Gold and chatting with them, little chit-chat with them about how you can diversify your portfolio. Gold and silver is spiking right now. Gold and silver is the only thing that's really like outperforming the market, and that has been stable. Everything else is set to collapse. Bloomberg this morning said that there is a 100% chance of a recession. And CNBC said there is a 100% chance of a housing crash, right? Adjustment. What does that mean? It means we're going to be 2008 all over again. Invest in gold now. Invest in gold now. Protect your IRA, 401k, and your earnings with gold. Back up with gold. Go to protectwithbenny.com today. Call 844-66-BENNY. Get up to $5,000 free silver with qualifying purchase. Do not wait. Protect now with Allegiance Gold. Protectwithbenny.com. The best. You know her. I know her. She's the best. Julie Kelly on the show. Let's go. Julie, thank you so much. We're so excited to see your reporting on the Hamas insurrection and their federal charges soon. We're sure that you will be covering those as well. Is this going to happen?
I am anxiously awaiting for all the arraignments and individuals who attempted to obstruct an official proceeding yesterday, engage in civil disorder, attack police officers. All these charges we've seen levied against January 6 protesters for nearly 3 years. I'm waiting to see those arraignments, those instant indictments, and of course, being held under pretrial detention, hauled to a DC gulag where they could maybe languish there for a year or so before they go to trial. That's what I'm reporting on.
Good. Yes, please. And we very much look forward to that. We've been retweeting your tweets. You've gone through even the most benign protester yesterday was somebody who was, what was your list? Parading through the Capitol, making a commotion. Can you talk me through even someone who didn't fight a cop, right? Yesterday, like, can you talk me through what would the typical charge for like the January 6er who just walked into the Capitol because the cops opened the door? What would they be typically charged with?
So I did go through this list on Twitter/X. So if you weren't going to charge these individuals, first of all, Capitol Police announced that it is illegal to demonstrate in a Capitol office building. So these individuals were in the Cannon House office building. They were not in the Capitol. So the first question, Benny, is how did police let these hundreds of violent demonstrators into that building when they weren't supposed to be there at all? So let's start with that. Civil disorder, entering restricted grounds. Or
Could I stop you just for a second there, Julie? I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt, but I want to state this. There's no evidence that they broke in, right?
Right.
Like they were let in by security, right? Is that correct?
Oh, this is what we don't know, Benny, and this is why Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene instructed Capitol Police to retain the surveillance footage from from Cannon Office Building because it's automatically deleted after 24 hours. We need to see how these hundreds of people, an organized group, because we could see all the text messages going back and forth, an organized group, how did all of those people get through metal detectors and assemble in an office building when Capitol Police said themselves it's illegal to do so? So that's the question, first of all, how did they get there? Even if you don't levy trespassing charges against them, parading, picketing, and demonstrating in a Capitol building, that is one of the most common misdemeanor counts against January 6ers. Civil disorder, we certainly saw plenty of that. Assaulting or interfering with law enforcement. You didn't even have to put your hands on a police officer on January 6th to be charged with interfering with law enforcement. So clearly these individuals were doing that. So there are multiple counts related to the January 6th ongoing prosecution. People are still being arrested every single week. So several counts that could be applied here. Also, Benny, I posted this video. At least 3 times, the same protesters interrupted a Senate Foreign Relations Committee yesterday, screaming at the panel, screaming at senators having to be hauled out of that room. And at one point, I think it was Senator Cardin said, "We are not going to allow these people to interrupt our proceedings." Well, they did. And as far as what I've been told, obstructing an official proceeding, a felony punishable by up to 20 years in prison, that should be a no-brainer for at least those 3 individuals as well.
Okay, so, I mean, I try as hard as I can to not do the trope, which is hypocrisy, and like sit here and wave my finger and do nothing, right? So we all know that these people, I didn't make the rules. So I would prefer for the old way to just be the way, right? As a reporter in Washington, D.C. for 15 years, the left always agitated, screamed, yelled, and threw a fit. through Kavanaugh, through the Women's March, and through whatever thing they didn't like, they would always like, absolutely have a meltdown. It made for great content. It's really funny. A lot of memes. I didn't make the rules, though. They made the rules that these people now go to federal solitary for 2 years pre-trial, right? So how do we create this? How do we create the adjective? This is why I'm doing a show on this, because everyone else is going to just allow this to be whitewashed. Like, how do we create the dynamic where that is something that is pushed and demanded by our federal officers, either inside of the House, right? Like, where's our committee set? Where's our January 6th committee set up to investigate Rashida Tlaib? Like, what would be the structure? Instead of us just wagging our fingers, what would be the structure that Congress should follow to ensure that these people get federally prosecuted?
Well, I mean, last time I checked, there was a House Weaponization of Government Committee that hasn't met since July. So the promise of that committee has really fallen apart. And with it, a lot of the other investigations, that should have preceded release of footage, release of records, release of police misconduct that day. We haven't seen a lot of that, unfortunately. Look, congressional Republicans have their hand tied in a way because they don't run DOJ and they certainly don't control the U.S. Attorney's Office for the District of Columbia. But Marjorie Taylor Greene shouldn't be the only one making noise on this. And you saw the video yesterday. You had two lunatics come. I mean, one of them shoved her. They were right in her face, screaming at her, with these useless Capitol Police officers standing there, letting this man do that. This big man screaming at her. What do we have Capitol Police for? I mean, that's a whole other subject. That is under the purview of the House Administration Committee. They need to do more because obviously this agency does not have a clue what they're doing. But I'm with you. It's very frustrating to keep saying hypocrisy, double standard.
That's right.
But I will tell you, Benny, I got a lot of texts yesterday from J6ers. They were outraged to see this happening in two buildings yesterday. And individuals involved in far worse conduct than, say, their loved one, their son, their wife. And to see these and knowing that they will all escape any sort of punishment, let alone what these January 6th defendants have gone through.
I know. It's like, I try as hard as I can not to be a doomer, but unless we learn to actually activate political power and to make these people eat their medicine, and drink the soup that they've served to us, nothing's ever going to change, man. And so, Republicans have got to grow some balls and actually, not like Joe Biden on his chin, but like grow some actual literal capacity to actually force change on this. And at the very least, Republicans unified as a conference should be saying, we demand federal prosecutions.
But, look, it would be really, I think it would be a good idea for House Republicans or presidential candidates to put a long list together of individuals and groups that they plan to investigate and prosecute if a Republican is elected and sworn into office in January of 2025. Keep in mind, they will have a very limited window for statute of limitations related to what happened in Washington in the summer of 2020. But certainly these protests would apply. They would have plenty of time to investigate this global Antifa group where you saw the chat messages going back and forth. You could certainly, and going back to Jamal Bowman, where's the criminal referral for him? I mean, he obstructed an official proceeding. He conducted an unlawful act, pulling a fire alarm to stop the proceedings that day. And so about the continuing resolution, I think it would be wonderful. I think it would be a very effective campaign tool to put this running list together of individuals and groups who will be investigated and prosecuted under a Republican Department of Justice in 2025.
Here's your tweet there of the obstruction of a official proceeding. Obviously, this was in the middle of a hearing, and you don't get more clear-cut obstruction of official proceeding than that. And there you go. Yeah.
And the caveat in the statute is attempts to. You don't even have to successfully shut down an official proceeding. All you have to do is attempt to, which clearly those three protesters were trying to do. Seems like a clear-cut case to me.
So in the end, Republicans are going to need to be willing to extract pain from Democrats when they act up or when they weaponize their own side against us. It does stand, because I have a long memory, because I have a memory like an elephant. I do remember, I know it's crazy, but I was alive 4 years ago. I do remember when a Bernie Sanders supporter shot up Steve Scalise. Now, Steve Scalise wanted to run for Speaker of the House. Mm-hmm. Yet we were all told that we needed to sit and take our shoes off and get some marshmallows and sit in a campfire with and sing a song with the people who radicalized this shooter who nearly killed Steve Scalise. It is bewildering to me. And I started my show off with this, so it's a bee in my bonnet. But Julie, it's bewildering to me how we never ever take an opportunity, even when Democrats hand it to us on a platter, to extract any political concessions from them or any pain. You just shot up an entire baseball field of Republicans. And there's not a single Republican that was like, wait a second, should we look at the radicalization of the left here and their violence? And maybe we should make them apologize for this. And now I think you are seeing the end result of what happens when parents don't discipline their children.
Well, yes, look at the freak show yesterday, Benny. Look at those people who are out there. They're a disgrace. They look like the outcasts of society, which they are. But to your point, not only were they not probably disciplined by their parents, they were coddled by them, and then probably all attend Georgetown University or, George Washington University or any of the, maybe University of Virginia. This is what the left, these are the little creatures that leftist parents have created. But I want to say something to Mary Miller Meeks.
Yes.
I want to tell her, well, I know, because you do have a bee in your bonnet about her, and you should. I was at the federal courthouse with Marjorie Taylor Greene on Monday for the gag order hearing. She is the only Republican who has attended any of these hearings or proceedings related to January 6th, and of course, Jack Smith. You should see the psychos that go after her and stalk her. I was there at in the row with her in one of the benches, and two of her male staffers, thankfully, and myself. We got up for the break so Judge Chutkin could take a little pause before announcing her verbal order. Came back, and there's this man sitting in the bench in the row next to her. So I sensed, something, and I told him to move, and he wouldn't. And I said, no, we were assigned these seats. You need to leave. Get up and leave. I was sitting here, and you could tell he was getting angry, but he was there for a purpose. You had two U.S. Marshals by the door paying no attention to this man next to one of the most hated and stalked and targeted members of Congress. So, of course, I, almost 5'10", almost snatched this guy right out of it. So eventually I made him move. We leave after the proceedings, and sure enough, here he comes right after her, stalking her towards the elevator. Now she's walking with her staff. I'm behind this guy because I know he's up to no good. Finally, a U.S. Marshal, I was pointing. Finally, he saw what was happening. We get in the elevator. This lunatic tries to get in with him. I block the elevator. I go, you are not getting in here. And then the guard came in with us and told the man, no, you can't. We go downstairs. There he is right by the elevator again, trying to take pictures with her, harassing her. And then finally, this guard escorted him out of the building. She gave a media talk. She went to the microphones outside the courthouse, and she's talking to the media, and you can hear these psycho lunatics screaming at her. You're a fascist. You're a racist. You're a this. These are the same people who just said in a gag order hearing, because they're so offended by Donald Trump's Truth Social post, which they probably don't even read. And then they're stalking a female, and she's tiny. She's in good shape, but she's tiny. Stalking her like a lunatic. So Mary Miller Meeks, and then you saw yesterday this lunatic go after her outside in the Capitol building. This another big man trying to go after her. Does she flinch? No. Does she cry? No. Does she go to social media and say, I'm getting death threats? No, she handled it like the tough person that she is, and her staff finally had to intervene. So the fact is, she is by far the most targeted female member of Congress. And to have someone like Mary Miller Meeks, who is thwarting the process here, now she's the victim, and now she's, as you said, out there crying over mean social media posts. snowflake, it's an old word, but that's just it's just really galling to hear someone like that cry publicly, when I've seen personally on many times what Marjorie Taylor Greene has had to endure.
What a feeble lot. What a feeble lot. What a feckless, embarrassing lot these Republicans are. Oh, wow. The horrors of voting for Jim Jordan as Speaker. Oh, that's what we're asking you to do, and that's just a bridge. That's a bridge too far. And then you're going to attack the speed at which they attack the voters, the speed at which they attack the Republicans. They're trained. They're trained dogs. They're trained dogs by the leftist media to attack us, to attack the base, to attack the voters. And it's just like the Tea Party 3.0, 4.0. I don't know what generation we're on, but like we become the enemy, right? Because the left says we're the enemy, we become the enemy, and Republicans, they get dog walked. It's so embarrassing. Leash, collar, ball gag. So embarrassing. Something, just an image I wanted to show you before you go, Julie. Something special that we did that we were going to be releasing this weekend in honor of the Hamas insurrection is to tell a story about how to become a shaman. And we went out, we traveled out to the desert, and we met with the only shaman we know. And we wanted to learn, and so we look forward to sending this to you when it is ready. We'll be releasing it on Saturday, and we learned about shaman. It was a very important lesson that we learned.
I love it.
And so
did you talk to Jacob? That is Jacob, correct?
Yeah.
He's
we did.
He's an interesting guy, isn't he? He's actually really smart. I think he's pretty sharp.
He's a sweetheart. He wouldn't harm a fly. We actually talked about that. Like he releases the flies in his home. Like he brings them back out to nature. Anyway, we're gonna do our part for rehabilitation here. Thank you, Julie. God bless you. Please tell people where they can support you.
Thank you so much, Benny. Thank you for always having me on and covering my work. I'm on Substack, Declassified with Julie Kelly, also Real Clear Investigations, and of course spend a lot of time on Twitter/X posting breaking news, court motions, and making fun of the January 6th insurrection propagandists.
Yes, that is right. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone go sub to Julie on Substack and follow her on X. God bless you. Godspeed.
You too, Benny. Thanks.
We are here for you, and we say thank you for allowing us to be independent. You think I could have done that interview anywhere else? Like that interview, you can't do that. You think I could go out into the desert with Jacob Chansley? You're gonna love this content, by the way. You're gonna love this piece. You think I could do that anywhere else? Of course not. No, we're independent. We're independent because of you, and we say thank you. You support us, and if you wish to support us, if you find it in your heart to support us, you can please join the Benny Brigade. For $5 a month, you can support our programming here and all of the incredible work that we are doing. We're sending reporters out into the field. We are actually creating narratives. We are creating the content and the universe and the culture that we wish to be a part of. It's hard work. But the left has obviously proven how rotted they are to the very core. And there's a lot of corporate conservative companies that are rotted also to the core. And so we wish to stay independent. Please go to BennyJohnson/Brigade to support us and our work. If you sign up for an annual membership, then you shall receive not only a month free, but you shall receive this, the finest and most honorable keychain for patriots. The official Benny Brigade keychain. We've shipped out thousands of these bad boys. It has the salty tank on the back with the salt shaker. The official logo of the Benny Brigade. Those sweet tanks keep a-rolling. The salt keeps pouring. And we thank you for your support. We couldn't do it without you. And we also couldn't do it without our faith and without our belief that we are doing all of this for something more than just ourselves. And so that is why, no matter what absurd or ridiculous show that we have, I can't believe we did a whole section on Joe Biden's ball section, but here we are, ladies and gentlemen. We always bring it home with a Bible verse, and we always do our best, even though we were deeply imperfect, do our best to give you hope, and that hope is the hope that springs eternal from our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. From Isaiah 54. Though the mountains be shaken and the hills be removed, yet my unfailing love for you will not be shaken, nor my covenant of peace be removed, says the Lord, who has compassion on you. The mountains are shaking and the hills are being uprooted, ladies and gentlemen. You're seeing that across the world. Mountains are indeed shaking. Now is time to have faith. Now is time to have your North Star be something other than a political party or a politician. It's to have something rooted in the eternal. And so that is what we wish, ladies and gentlemen, to always remind every single show, because that won't let you down. And we are guaranteed to see suffering, and we're guaranteed to see losses in this world, and losses politically, and things will go wrong, and things will go bad, and so on and so forth, and we'll be betrayed. But you won't be betrayed by your Lord and Savior. You won't be betrayed by the Scriptures, and you will have the victory. And that's a victory that I can promise you, ladies and gentlemen. So stand upright, march forward, onward, Christian soldier. It's your boy Benny. See ya.